Welcome to Copa America, Terran versus Zerg. Last match of this group stage, guys. Whoever wins this best of three will be moving on to join the likes of Major at the top of Group A. But spawning here in the top left corner, of King Sejong Station. I'm sorry, Zombie Grub. It's gonna be the blue Terran player, Sendoh. From Chaos Latin Gamers.
In the bottom right, as the red Zerg, is Jonsnow.
Oh, sorry, the music disabled for this, but okay. So King Sejong, we're seeing a lot of finicky stuff going on. One of the most shenanigansy parts of the map has actually been less utilized than I thought it would, and of course, I'm referring to the Reaper Cliff over here. All versions of the 888 Reaper opening on this map have pretty much been shut down. Zerg players just send the second Overlord or the third Overlord northwards a lot of the time now, so we've seen that almost just cut out a competitive play. I really don't know a lot of people who still go for it.
It's not very useful against Zerg, unless you're going for the 888, but it just regards to a regular 2 or even 3 Reapers, it's just not worth it to send it up, go to that side of the map and then potentially lose it on its trek across the base to get to the natural ramp, which is usually where you see 2 to 3 Reapers do the most damage, is attacking the queens, not really getting any more drone kills. So something to be used more in TVT and TVP just as scouting.
True enough, true enough. Jonsnow going for that nice early hatchery here. Didn't take the earlier gas, so perhaps not expecting Reapers out of Sendoh, but there is in fact a Reaper on the way. And the funny thing about this, though, is when you do have that sort of secondary way into the base through that cliff, the downside is, if you're going to go out, you got to go all the way around, and I really do mean all the way around to get back into the base from another angle.
Exactly. You just don't want to really risk cutting across the base, because there's lings and queens, so usually not worth it. The first Reaper is going to be on its way out, and it will be scouted by Jonsnow's Overlord. Now, sometimes we see if they think they can get away with it, a bunker on either the low ground or the high ground where you don't have vision against a Zerg player. And it's usually like well, maybe this will work and that'd be cool. But sometimes you see Zergs underreact to it and even take much more damage than they should have. It's not going to happen here. It's more of a rare occurrence.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes even that bunker, it sounds so silly, guys, but high ground vision can be such a big deal. Even if it doesn't get utilized for anything else, but alright, no bunker going down. Reaper gonna get to the main here in just a moment's time. With the speed being so delayed, this is gonna be a real pain for Jonsnow. Now, he can keep 2 Reapers off with slow lings and queens, but it's not fun and it's not easy.
Oh, it's really delayed. Oh, okay, he had enough gas. I was wondering if there was only one guy on it, but alright, so the speed does start, so eventually the Reaper will have to get out of there. It doesn't have the free reign until, what is it, 8 minutes, I think, if you delay gas till the 2, but...
Well, I mean, Queens will chase us off way better than Speed will either way, at least for the start.
Well, the beginning ones, yeah, okay,
Ooh.
that was a mistake.
Losing that first Reaper's get a sting, second one back at home, but this has no real pushing power to it.
Yeah, no, and he's not getting a third one, so this one has to stay back and prepare for the lings. Not a lot of damage going down for the Reapers. Not that you really get that much damage, honestly, from Reapers. Maybe you get the 1 or 2 drone kills, but Zerg's have really gotten good at build canceling. But you get damage to the queens, which then snowballs into damage from the Hellions, turning into deaths of the queens, especially as they try and defend the third, which is a little far away. You know, it takes a couple of creep tumors to get your third covered in creep.
Well, the factory being swapped now is going to start that Hellion production up real nice. We got the reactor coming, or the tech lab rather, coming up pretty quickly, but no second gas. So if this is going to be Banshees, it's going to be pretty lackluster. I mean, Cloakless Banshees can get a bit of damage done, but of course, always a little bit better when paired with Cloak.
Yeah, especially since it's so cheap now. But the one thing that Banshees do is it delays your marine production, delays your stim if you're going to get stim. I think non-cloak Banshee nowadays is a really good indicator they're not going to go for Mac. It just seems like if you're going to go for Mac, you always put the cloak into it.
Which is a bit ironic, I guess, because that is you wasting more gas instead of extra factories or faster tanks or anything like that. But no, you're right. That ends up being the case most of the time. But Hellions on the prowl, looking for a couple more legs. They do fend off the ones at home. We got a bit of a wall starting up here for Sendoh, of course.
Not throwing it down, like, it's so weird. It used to be, bunker positioning used to be such a science for Terrans. I remember there was always a debate on whether or not you put it in the wall or you put it like in a corner. so that the Ling surface area was reduced. That was always a big debate.
Do you remember Do you remember trying to find bunker placement on Entombed Valley? Like that was the worst. Like you nestle next to the ramp, and sometimes it was amazing, sometimes it was awful.
I remember Ohana. That was one of the maps where everyone put it in like the corner, you know, behind the ramp next to your command center. Yeah. That was one of the ones we always went for the corner bunker. We don't see that anymore. Everyone puts it in the front, or they don't put a bunker down at all.
Well, I think a big part of that too is, well, small engagement's going on, but this is precisely why what's happening right here. Return players have gotten more aggressive. They don't have to worry about 6 Lings getting into the base very quickly because combination Reapers and Hellions shut that down in the early game. So, whereas once upon a time, slow Lings could really cause you a lot of hell, one Reaper will hold them off way better than any amount of Marines will. So, the bunker priority is less of a necessity. But that's what's cool about StarCraft 2. It's how we've seen the gameplay evolve and change so drastically. I mean, honestly, Ohana still wasn't that long ago when you think about it.
Well,
I guess maybe the start, the first time it was introduced, yes.
Oh, right, yeah, of course, maps lasted a lot longer than they do nowadays, which is a good thing, or it was a bad thing. It's a good thing now.
It's interesting, too, because that's like the weird dynamic of StarCraft versus other games. I mean, I know a lot of the times it gets compared to League or Dota or all these other things, but the one thing, all that nonsense aside that I do find interesting is StarCraft's the only game where maps seem to change. You take a look at like pretty much every other popular game, and it's new characters, it's new spells, it's new skins, it's new abilities. Of course, for StarCraft, it's the same old, just different maps, different terrains.
That's why it's so bad that we don't really use that as much. Of course, new champions are always getting the money for riots, and it's because it's the one thing that changes.
Well, have you seen the compendium? Holy moly, it's getting.
Well, right, yeah.
It's gonna hit 10 million. I'm telling you, it's gonna hit 10 million.
All those things can change. And they make a lot of money off of it. And I'm not saying we should, monetize maps, but we should definitely be encouraging maps more as the one things that change.
Yeah, there's been a couple of map making competitions from here and there, but I think the big one last year was, of course, the one that spawned Habitation Station, one of the more favored maps nowadays, actually, as we oftentimes see Habitation Station and Frost, the two that are not vetoed, the ones that are actually picked.
Yep. Alter Zeme, I think, is the most vetoed in WCS stats, anyways.
I like Alter Zeme though, just because of the intro we have on our channel.
It's ugly. Well, okay, the intro is pretty cool, but I don't like it as ugly.
Fair enough.
I don't like the palette.
Way to fall into that stereotypical girl role. It's not pretty. I don't like it.
What about stereotypical artists? All right, I'm a flippin' artist, and no one's always like so stupid
are you
artists.
struggling and poor? Is that what you're saying right now?
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Right. Oh god, I just made myself sad. Alright, well, Ling aggression from Jonsnow is not getting a lot done, but we do see Banning speed on the way. He's going to take it at 4th, and more importantly than this, we do have the Spire coming up. So no longer going to be stuck tangoing against these Hellions, but it's worth noting for Sendoh, he does still have Hellions, and I'd actually gone for Hellbats. No armory in sight, but something that could be considered for as the game moves forward.
Oh, that's a late armory then.
Actually, yeah, because he's going to be stuck on 1-1.
Yeah, he's going to be stuck on 1-1 for a good chunk longer. If you don't know, you put the army down at about halfway for the upgrades, and it'll time up nicely. So he's missing out a little bit on that, but,
and on top of this, that's some really messy SimCity.
Oh, right. Well, as long as the factory with the tech lab is off somewhere else, and I believe that it is, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm worried about, as the mutalisks start coming in, we're just going to be able to camp one spot and hit every single Marine.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking about the Thor popping out, which always gets stuck.
Yeah. Man, Thors are so big and clumsy. They get stuck on the worst things. But, speaking of mutalisks, we actually don't have any turrets now. We got one now popping up in the main, but there's nothing to cover the production.
If you're going to put your production like that, you got to put like 3 missile turrets to cover it.
Right, because it would actually cover everything, strangely enough. But
right, you cover everything important.
This push feels a little too early, a little too preemptive. He's hitting before combat shields is ready, which means he's so much in trouble versus these banelings.
Yeah, that's a great point. He's actually hitting later than most attacks, but a little more powerful, like a few more Marines. But the fact that combat are down is a big deal, and no splitting right there.
Okay, he picks up a good chunk of the Marines, but the problem is this: if he had waited for combat shields, I think he would have taken significantly less losses from those banelings.
Well, I think waiting for combat shields definitely would have helped, but also we just see that when Terrans lose, and they lose in a very dramatic fashion, where it looks like Zerg is kind of OP, it's because there are too much in a hurry with pushes like that. Like, our pushes really don't get strong until we're above 150, with 2-2, preferably. But so often we see them like push up on creep, push up a ramp, and it just gets demolished, and suddenly it snowballs from there, and that might be what's going to happen.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. Camera just freaked out for no reason. Love when that happens.
Jonsnow is playing. He's not really playing the. It looks like the swamp swarm style. You know, he's getting the invitation, but fairly early. Looks to be going up to hive, focusing on the tech more than anything else.
Well, he's kind of afforded to do that right now, though. One thing he's scouted multiple times: there's no fourth base. There's no pressure to attack. For Jonsnow, it's all about harass right now. It's not about trying to get in there and win the game.
Yeah.
Char's gonna go down here. Bailey's gonna roll into that third base as well. A couple reactors gonna go down. This is gonna be a bit of a nuisance.
Okay, so while he's distracting here, he's okay. He just run out, but
Spine crawlers. So that's kind of neat.
that's a good idea on these positions.
Oh, that's actually a really nice Bailey connect because it also baited out a Widowmine hits on top of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Here we go.
Massive counterattack.
Ooh,
Oh, those
Widowmines. Oh, the Widowmines are good.
Yeah, those are really good. Even split, and they're still good. Attack at the front, though, is getting maybe demolished. As Widowmines need to start hitting correct Banelings. They kind of make up for it.
Yeah, he maintained a lot of mutas too. That did look a little bit hairy in the main base there as all those Marines started rallying back. But Jonsnow not losing too many. Still gets 16 in play. Still not fully clean this up. Oh my god! Even though this Banelings didn't kill the SCVs, this one Zergling, I wish I could have clicked it before it died. Seriously, probably had like 12 kills on it. Because all those low health 5 HP SCVs are now gone.
He is back down to 56. He's replenishing it, though. I guess the third hot. Command center is not hot.
I had simply assumed that he had cleaned that up, but that was not the case in the slightest.
Yeah. 2-2 is about to finish. Remember that Sendoh had a later 2-2 than you're normally used to seeing. Jonsnow had an upgrade lead for a very long time. His mutas are going to catch this fourth base. Well, okay, they should have.
There's only 2 turrets, actually. Even if he spam repairs this, there we go. Spam repair should hold for a little bit, but not long enough. It is going to be chased back.
He could still go over the fourth, but obviously he did not notice it. So hopefully he runs past it. He gets a free fourth command center kill.
Nope. Gonna go for the medevacs. Actually, this will be a nice pickoff. For Terran players too, we often find them stop medevac production later on. Right now, because he's in the middle of medevac production, he's going to keep it up. But it's like later on, once you're maxed out, you see so many Terran players, like the best Terran players, forget to replenish those medevac counts. They focus so heavily on pumping out like 19 Marines at a time. And what good is having 104 Marines if you don't have anything to heal them after they stim?
It literally makes me cry sometimes. I have no medevacs over 100 Marines.
Yeah.
Jonsnow again he hasn't really had a lot of pressure. Remember that first attack really didn't do a whole lot. It was combat shieldless. He just got swamped. The other attacks really didn't do anything either. Sendoh is probably better off just playing a very defensive style, like getting the fourth, not attacking again until he was max, something like that. Because Jonsnow just he's constantly rolling all over him, and now he's taking up much faster and more aggressive than we're used to seeing.
Oh. That was so
that
close
could have been so much worse.
Right, that could have been Miracle Widowmine status. There's no overseer with this.
He needs to fix that. Well, he's not fixing it, but he should.
4 Widowmine connections will thin out this pack very quickly, guys.
4 is the magic number.
Yeah, it's kind of sucks too. There's so many races, or not races, but there's situations with the other races where Terran players need a precise number of units, and everyone else just kind of needs enough. It feels. I mean, there's no situation where you need exactly 5 zealots to equally deal out 20 versus lings. No, you just warp in until you're good to go. Of course,
that's true.
Terran's a little bit different, but we do have a medevac going for a drop. Mulos also going to go for hitting the main while this is going on. Turrets were never rebuilt, so there's only one still in the main. And this planetary fortress is going to take out a good chunk of these banelings. Unfortunately, there's enough banelings here to knock it down with quite a bit of power. Although the Zerglings are blocking them out.
Yeesh. Okay, they're going to go down. The banelings aren't even wasted on it, which is pretty cool.
Mutas
though.
Yep.
Mutas. The frontal Sendoh just decided to attack rather than defend. It's not doing anything.
If he goes for the 3, if he gets his engineering base, that's devastating.
Oh well, it's pretty much game right now because his attack at the front. It's
not going to get anything done. The Widowmines get caught actually a little bit awkwardly. But yeah, even the Lynx flooding into this. The Widowmine friendly fire actually almost hurting more than helping, but production pretty much compromised at this point. Jonsnow's lost a good chunk of mutas, but GG is going to be called, and game number 1 will go to our Zerg player, Jonsnow. I really like that attack on the 4th. It did kind of force Sendoh to have to fight someone who'd been playing somewhat, I wouldn't say passively, but unsuccessfully aggressive, I guess would be a better way to phrase it. For most of that game, but baiting me to a good full-on fight. Jonsnow takes a very decisive victory towards the end, and that'll give him a 1 lead here in this best of 3. And remember, guys, it's the last best of 3 of the night, which means if Jonsnow wins, he goes through. If Sendoh wins, he will also go through. One of these 2 players will try and major out of the group stage. What you drinking there? Is that Fresca?
It is Fresco.
Nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It was a compliment worth thanking.
Yeah.
All right, so map number 2. Let's see if we know what that's going to be. Of course, the wonderful Copa America admins have been pasting it on a lot. Frost. All right, so Frost will be the second map here. Jonsnow versus Sendoh. Actually, I like this map for this to be map number 2. I'm going to sneeze so you can talk about this for a sec. I'm sorry, one sec.
Oh, Frost game too. Okay, so pretty much if Jonsnow gets cross positions, he's really good to go.
Yep.
Although, honestly, the Sendoh's TVZ with Bao did not look that strong. It is sometimes really a case of that one attack just does absolutely nothing, and it really just gives the Zerg so much opportunity to get ahead, so that's exactly what happens. So I don't know if... This isn't really banking on positions. Jonsnow just seemed to be stronger last game.
Ugh, I hate having allergies, man. Summertime, not so good.
But I don't have allergies.
I don't even like have anything I'm straight up allergic to, where it's like, okay, you know, I can't eat nuts or I'm gonna die. But it's just like, oh, there's pollen in the air because it's wonderful summertime. Well, you're gonna have a bad time, Rifkin. Wake up every morning with a dry throat, sniffles every time randomly. I tried some of this Claritin stuff. It doesn't seem to be helping too much.
Just get the type that knocks you out. You'll be like, during casts.
Yeah. Like, well, their base is under attack. Just like,
I don't know.
Get all sorts of tired. All right, well, Sendoh and everyone's in the lobby here, guys. So we're probably getting ready to go here in just a second. Let me actually go set the maps up for this. Again, big shoutouts to not only Copa America, but the studio who produces all these intros. They do look very slick and very nice, and it's quite awesome being able to use them. What? English stream is ready too. Tell them that we're ready. Alright, so this could be a quick 2-0. This could be 2-1, whatever the case may be. One win away from victory is Jonsnow if you're just tuning in. And Major's already made it out of the group today, and if Jonsnow makes it out of here too, then I think that wraps it up. Again, unless they've got some weird different version of brackets and group stages. I don't think they do.
I don't think so. I was looking at the brackets and the group stages, right? And I was looking at the dates, and I was like, oh, well, game's going on, so let's look about it later.
All right. See you guys in a sec. You can rest assured, I have closed the sound clip. I'll just give him a normal introduction this time, because chat was not entertained. Everyone's like, don't laugh, you'll encourage him to do it more. We're a bunch of sourpusses who are no fun. So, I've heard you guys.
Salt there, Jesus.
PJ Salt? Kappa? Anybody? Alright, spawning here in the bottom left corner of the map from Chaos Latin Gamers. He's currently down one at the moment. We'll see if he can turn this series around. It is the blue Terran player, Sendoh.
Yep, left as the red Zerg, it is Jonsnow.
Jonsnow? It's like, you just like got really lazy at the end. You're just like, it is Jonsnow.
Oh, that's how they say it in Game of Thrones. Although I have been noticing I do that more often in like daily conversation. It's not an accent because I'm from Maryland.
Okay, this is gonna be a big stretch, and I'm sure you're probably gonna say no to this. But have you ever played a game called The Neverhood?
I have not.
Well, for anyone else who has, this is an awesome moment of the game I'll never forget, where it's like, 2.5 cheers for Clayman. Hip hip hoo. Hip hip hoo.
That sounds awesome. I'm so glad I heard that story.
Sorry. Whatever.
I
Gotta be like that.
Funny.
I was gonna segue into. Okay, you know what? Forget it. There was a second. I don't want to talk to you anymore. All right, Sendoh setting up the barracks is going for the gas. He'll have these Reapers, and Jonsnow has not gone for faster gas. Actually, we're gonna wait to see. He's gonna just go hedge first. Yeah, hedge first.
Yeah, at first. So, anyways, I was looking at the brackets, and I was like, oh, why do they say that the group stages are on May 6th? It's way past May 6th. And then I realized it was America.
Oh, so like they've got like the 0506 versus 0605.
Yeah. Which does make sense. A lot of things that America does not make sense, like why we put the month and then the day.
I think you guys feel like that because you say like May 6th, right? So like month, day.
Okay,
year.
well, don't give us any credit.
Well, no, I'm just saying it actually makes sense in terms of speaking. But as far as dates, of course, you go like day to month to year. For
you know what?
else.
Now that you brought that up, I kind of like ours more. So suck at everyone else. But the metric system was still something we should have adopted.
Yeah. Tell me about those inches, why don't you? Those quarter foots and all these things.
That's
not a real thing, I know.
Well, that's what I was not going to bring up. But
oh, because I had used inches. You were very inappropriate.
Wait,
Thank
do you know? Sorry. Do you know? Like, you can like guess what a foot looks like, right?
Like mine?
No, like 12
That's like
inches.
a size 11.
6 inches.
Okay, whatever. We're getting really off base here. 2 Reapers are coming at a time, and this one's really weird to see.
Wow.
Because this is coming out of a reactor, guys. Now, 2 Reapers in and of itself, not too crazy, but doing it in this order certainly is. I don't think he's going to be producing 4 at a time or 6 at a time or anything like that, but this will kind of put the timings off a little bit for Jonsnow, who, well, if Sendoh had known this was the case, he really could have taken advantage of this, because there's no gas, no speed.
What it does is that while you do see some Terrans go ahead and go for 4 to 6 Reapers, which is surprising but not unheard of, and it would work out well against what Jonsnow was doing, which is not going for speed. It just also gives you easy access to the double reactor Marines, so you have a lot more stable. You have a lot more Marines. I mean, usually you just have Reapers and Hellions, and they're either out of the base or they're in the base, not doing a whole lot.
Well,
with Marines, you have a lot more.
Right, and Reactor Marines are actually leading into those sort of Hellbat pushes we've been seeing more and more since the change, where you get about 6 Marines behind it, start getting the Hellbats, and you push it the earliest timing possible, and Lings don't cut it, Queens don't cut it. It's so hard to hold off. But
yeah, it's a good...
Sendoh just doesn't strike me as the player who's going to get aggressive like that. He's been playing defensive every time we've seen him for most of these games. His mech games kind of led into that too, but more importantly than that, I can't see him going too crazy, not with his playstyle.
Frost is the map where you almost always see them go for Blue Flame Hellion. Now, that is usually in the cross position. It just is something magic that I'm not quite sure about. I guess that's to do with, because cross position on Frost is Zerg favored, you want to do something that tries to really hinder them, which would be Blue Flame.
We're so funny. We should just be. Why are we even casting? We should just be comedians. I mean, honestly.
You should be a comedian.
Yeah, but you could be like the audience member who starts to laugh.
Oh, to give you encouragement, and so the other ones go like.
Or you could just straight up be the person who operates the soundboard or the lights in the studio audience. It's like laugh now, aw now.
I'd constantly use the wah wah on you.
Wah, 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 wah.
Okay, so we got a Roach War in here from Jonsnow. He did get speed, although obviously much later than 6 minutes finished. The Roach War could just be for the 4 Roaches to defend, not uncommon on Frost. If it is for aggressive, like the 8 to 10, the Banshee really takes care of that too well.
Hello?
What?
Oh, were you finishing that sentence?
The Banshees take care of it too well.
Oh, too well? I thought you said too, and then like you were thinking of the next thing to say. I was like,
No.
am I supposed to interject here? What's going on? Worst cast 2014! But okay, we got the Hellions coming out.
Good English.
Well, okay. The Banshee's going to do a lot of damage. That's for certain. The Widowmine's a bit of an odd follow-up. Would have really liked to have seen the Hellbats, but he's feeling very defensive. And perhaps this will pay off if this is going to be the Roach Baneling Blast. But there's 2 Evolution Chambers coming down with this. I don't know if this is going to be the all-in.
You know what?
But the second bunker, he's getting prepared just in case.
It is so odd, okay, so that Jonsnow showed Sendoh the Baneling Nest. Sendoh did see the Roach Warren, but as I said, that could have been for those 4 roaches just to protect your third. With the Baneling Nest, that always confirms it is Roach Baneling. You don't get a Baneling Nest until you're around getting your lair, usually in TBC. So that's why you see Sendoh preparing for it. But I think you're right. I think Jonsnow is kind of faking him out here. Because he did see the Roach Warren, just throw him the Baneling Nests. Don't actually make any Banelings, use them for later. Thrown up instead.
I have no idea what these lings were doing. They were on like this missionary trip to the middle of nowhere. They ducked in, not even far enough to see if there was a hidden base or not, and then left.
They're on a missionary trip to teach no one nothing.
They wanted to help the poor the trees over here and whatever. Anyways, that joke's up. There's 2 Winwites here. There's 2 bunkers. This attack out of Jonsnow is gonna sting, but I don't know why he went through with this.
Yeah, I'm so surprised that he went through with it as well. There's not really a reason to.
Oh my god, the SCV pull is so late though.
Okay, but the second bunker is still there.
But
Whoa.
here come the Banelings.
What the heck, man? This is gonna do so much damage.
Oh my god, the SCV is getting annihilated. No chance to survive. More of them getting annihilated. 23 down.
That should have been such an easy defense.
Sendoh, my friend, what has just happened?
You know what? It was probably that it did become a little later, you know? We expected them not to do it, and Sendoh was like, oh, you're not going to do it. So it was like 15 seconds later than it was supposed to be,
it's like
the Baneling...
It's like the late game Cloak Banshee. You're like, okay, Banshee time, he's done. I can leave the mineral line, no need for turrets, but... yeah, this is really unfortunate that it did so much damage. Sendoh did make a 3rd command center guy, so I mean, he can replenish these losses. But 30 SCVs dead is still 30 SCVs dead, and... he's got no counterattack potential whatsoever. His wall's still down. Combat Schultz hasn't even begun, and Stim is nowhere close to finished. I mean, this is just about as messy as it gets as an opener for poor Sendoh.
Yeah. It always seems to be that if you're able to get over 30 SCV kills versus a Terran, you did game-ending damage. You know, maybe not right then and there, not going to GG, but that you're going to be able to follow through and win the game with a very good lead.
You know, there's not a lot of situations where this is a viable option, but I kind of feel like a follow-up all-in is in order after that. I mean, you beat him within an inch of his life. Why not just finish the job type thing?
I thought you were going to suggest Sendoh to lift and take a island base. Because that's what I expect when you say this is a dumb idea.
I hate you so much. God damn it. Let it go. Let it go. Something, wind in the snow. Let it go. But okay, deep breaths. Trying to ignore you for a second. Overlord dropping creep a little bit too late, sadly. Lings are gonna.
Well, he's gonna be able to. The lings are gonna force a lift off. So when they start pooping creep on your third, they did a drop. He was that desperate that he did a drop with no stim against the Zerg player. So yeah, it's easy peasy. If they're starting to drop creep on your already landed third, they're gonna follow up with about 20 lings. It's always the case.
I like Sendoh's choice to go for the high ground here. Sadly, Medevac sitting in range with the Spore Crawler. Oh, nothing is going right for Sendoh this game.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, 30 SCVs seems to be the magic number for when a Zerg player is like guaranteed to win.
Do you think before he came to Copa America today, he punched a bunch of mirrors, walked under a ton of ladders, and found some black cats to walk in front of? I mean, it's just... this guy has got no luck today at all.
Yes. Yes, I think that's exactly what happens, to answer your question.
Thank you. I'm glad that
as it was a question.
That's the...
That's a really long question.
Third base under attack once again. Couple decent Winnowmite connects going off. Marines get slaughtered. I don't know. This game is looking unrecoverable. Jonsnow, he's not wildly far ahead in terms of actual like, supply value, guys, but it's having 4 bases. It's having the economy to bully his opponent down, and we're starting to see those numbers dissipate here very quickly. All these SCVs have like 5 health, so these couple of lings could finish the finish the job.
It's that Sendoh has no army. You know, if you take a lot of SCV damage, but you have an army, you can still do something with it. He had neither. He had a severe SCV damage as well as no army.
I also give him props. Medevacs and SCVs repairing one another. What good teamwork. Not that it matters. Here comes 2 more banelings. Although he loses 1.
You know, we really don't have in Brood War, since medics could heal each other. You had like infinity medics that would survive after a lurker attack or something. We don't have that because medivacs can't heal each other. But
Well,
I guess like
we see that in Starbow a lot of the time.
Oh, that too. But the loop would be SCVs and medivacs. All right, so Jonsnow takes it with a little bit later all in, but did a lot more damage because it was just that little bit later.
That weird timing of what it was. GG, Jonsnow 2-0 sails through this group. Major sails through this group. Jonsnow actually I think gets 2 oh no, because he lost some to Major, right? So 4-0 for Major, 4-2 for Jonsnow. Not too bad of a group score if we're going to be quite frank.